These are the editing apps I use on my phone to create better photos, better stories, and just better content in general. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Finn Badgley. I'm a commercial photographer and all-around content creator, and I'm going to be walking you through the different apps that I use on my phone to edit photos on the go, because I can take a photo on my phone, on my film camera, whatever, and I can still make it look a little better with some tweaking in the edit. I'm going to be going through 4 different apps, from editing to creating a custom story so yours will stand out. First off, something I'll sometimes do is use the Native Photos app. I have this photo highlighted here, and I'll just go through the edit. Say I want to crop that guy in a bit, I'll change the format. So it's going to be, let's do like a 9:16, which is the screen size of your phone. And I'll come in and crop that in a little bit there. Then I will come back and I would just really usually like I think it's the dramatic filter, but I kind of like the dramatic warm in this moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the intensity of that down quite a bit, just to give it a bit of a moodier look. So I'll finish that, and then I'll come over here to exposure and brighten it up just a little bit, because I think it could be a little brighter. It's looking kind of dark, kind of moody. And if that's a moody look that we're going for, that's a really quick edit, just using the Photos app, using some filters, some quick adjustments, and that would be a great quick little photo. This is a screenshot taken from a video. It doesn't have the highest quality, but it can get the job done. Now, if we want to do a little bit more intensive editing, we'll open up my photos folder. The top row is what I use when I'm actually taking photos. The bottom row is what I use for when I'm editing. So we'll start off in Snapseed, and I've already imported this photo taken on 35mm film of my beautiful girlfriend, V, who actually gave me the idea for this video in the first place. So shout out V, thank her down in the comments down below. Also, she says hi. This is a whiteboard style desk, so yeah, say hi to V, because this video wouldn't be happening if she didn't give me the idea. Also, sometimes she'll help me film certain videos, like the iPhone comparison ones that I've done. So huge shout out to her. And I know you're watching this. I'm completely unbiased, but also hello. So yeah, now with that aside, I'm going to just adjust this photo a little bit. The scan is pretty good off the bat, but if you want to edit your film scans to look a little better right from your phone, this is how you can do that. I'm not really going to play around with the looks, just because I'm not a huge fan of them. I think they're a little bit aggressive for my liking, even if you can adjust them. So I'm just going to go in and use the tools, because I can sometimes be a tool. So I'm going to bring down I don't want to bring down the brightness. No, I don't. I want to maybe bring up the contrast a little bit. I definitely want to warm this up though, because if I cool it down, it's already pretty cool as a photo. I'll do about that. Shadows, I want to bring down a little bit. Usually I'll open up the shadows, but because this is on film, I kind of want to darken them down, make it look a little bit moodier. Maybe not that much moody. Moody. That's not really grammar, but hey, what does ambience do? It's like a weird mid-tone saturation contrast. I'll up it a little bit. Then I'll come over here to curves, and let's say I want to give this a bit of that kind of golden glow look. I'll add a bit of the red. Just gonna pull that up in the mid-tones, not a lot, just a little bit. Then I'll come down to blue, and then I'll drag that down just a little bit as well, not a lot. Less than the reds. And already that's looking pretty decent. Is it a bit on the green side? It does look a little green. Do I want to magenta it up a bit? Not a lot, not a lot. Right about there feels good to me. So we can see that just gives it a bit more of an overall look and feel. This is already a pretty grainy photo because it was taken on film. Otherwise I would introduce some grain in there. No, that smooths things out. I don't like it. No, not doing that. Okay, I want to see what some of these effects do though. Portrait, I think it's again like smoothing things out, and I don't. Spotlight, skin smoothing, eye clarity. How about no? What if we vintage it up a bit? This is already taken on film, so it's supposed to be pretty vintage, but like, can we play around and make it more vintage? Style strength, take that down a lot to like a 4. And then vignette, it's a heavy vignette. I'm gonna take it down a bit. Let's do that. And you know what? That's a pretty good look there. I might want to crop it in actually. And then I think we'll be good from there. I still want her to be kind of in that upper right third. Yeah, and I think that's a good look. So I'm happy with this image here. I can export that sucker. I'm just gonna save it as a copy so there's more than the one image. And then I'm gonna jump over to my favorite editing app on my phone, which is Adobe Lightroom. And again, this is V looking great. She gave me permission to use some of these photos for this video, so I'm taking that and running with it. This is a photo that was taken on a phone. This wasn't me taking the photo. If I did, I would have shot it a little bit lower, looking up at her more, maybe have the light hit her a little differently, but it gives us something, a nice base that we can work with and make it a little bit better. So first off, we see her foot is a little cut off here. So try not to cut limbs off when you're photographing. Like if you're gonna crop in, make sure that you don't cut off at the elbow or at the knee, because then it'll just look like that limb goes on forever. We don't want that. So I'm just gonna crop in a little bit to just below the knee, so that way we know what it is. It doesn't look weird. And I think that crop's gonna do well for us there. It's a little bit better of a perspective, more of the spotlight's on her. It looks a little less cluttered as well. So I'm gonna come over here to light, and I might bring the highlights down a little bit just because we're getting that nice side light on her face. I wanna up the contrast, make it a little moodier. Now we're starting to introduce some weird tones in here, so I'm gonna try to correct that later on as well. How are we on exposure? I'm not gonna play around with it too much, maybe like 1/10 of a stop. And then blacks, maybe I'll just bring those down just a little bit. Okay, now the main thing I wanna do is play with the color here because we're getting quite a lot of green, so I'm just gonna up the tint, introduce some magenta in there, neutral it out a little bit more. And then the temperature, I'm gonna warm it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna color grade the rest to make it really pop. I'll decrease the saturation just a little bit, so that way more of the color grade will come up. That'll be a more dominant color. Then we'll come into the color mix, and the reds, I'm just gonna bring over towards the orangey yellow side. The yellows I'm gonna bring over to the orangey side, so that way it's just more of a unified skin tone. Sometimes phones have an issue capturing skin tones. I'm just trying to make that a little easier. The blues, I'm gonna bring those down. And the greens, are we getting any purple? Not really, I'll desaturate that. Anyways, okay, color grading. Now, I'm gonna make this a little moodier, so I'm gonna introduce some purple tone into the shadows here. And then the luminance I'm gonna bring down a bit. So we're getting a nice dark shadow there. And what this will do too is emphasize the makeup look that she's got on, because she has this great smoky eye, as you can see, and this color grade, this edit is really playing to that. That's what I'm trying to do. And then to add to the overall sunset vibe, regardless of what time of day this was taken, it can be a really nice photo for that golden hour kind of look. So I'm gonna warm it up quite a bit to give that overall look there. I'll bring the highlights back up, and I just wanna bring the exposure down a bit. So that way it's a little more dramatic of a photo. And honestly, I quite like that. I like what we're doing here. Not texture, effects. I want to add just a little bit of vignette, make it so more of the focus is on her a little bit. That's looking pretty good there. And then we're getting, you know, it's taken on a phone, so we're getting some detail in there, but I want to make it, give it a bit more of a feel, especially to match the color grade that we did. So I'm going to add some grain in there. Let's try like what 12 does. We'll zoom into her face so we can see what happens the more we up it. I actually really like how this is turning out, so I'll keep it like that. Now, this was taken at like an eye level looking down, as you can tell based on the way the photo is, so we can try to adjust the distortion a bit to compensate for that wide angle lens. I would have probably pulled back a little more and zoomed in, so we're getting less of that effect. but we gotta work with what we got. So I can adjust the distortion a little bit like that, and that'll help it look more true to the eye. The vertical I can try to play with, but I'll bring it down a bit. Yeah, that's a little bit better in my opinion. Now horizontal, what can we do here? We can go a little crazy, but we don't really want to do that. So I'll just leave that normal, double tap to zero that out. Okay, and then if we tap there, press and hold on the photo, and we can see that honestly, it's giving a nice, more moody look. And this will be something that can work a lot better whenever you're posting it to wherever. And quite honestly, V looks great. So I'm not, hey, listen, I know you're watching this. I'm not biased, I promise, only a little. I can then copy these settings. I can choose the ones that I want to copy. I'll copy the crop, all the light, all of it. And then I'll take it over to this image and then paste it there. And then we can see we're getting all the same settings we had, just copied over here as well. I do want to crop in though on this one because yeah, I want to crop in a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I like this one better just based on the way the light's hitting her. I think the angle is better, but I think it's a great clean edit, especially from a phone. So now we're gonna go over to the app that I use to edit all my stories, create something a little more unique that will help you stand out. Also, this is the 4th time I've tried recording this video because the first time I recorded it all the way through, edited it, and I didn't like how it turned out. Some of the edits, I didn't like how I did them, and I thought I could offer more value so you can get more out of it. So I trashed the whole thing and started again. Then I filmed the whole thing, and then I ran out of space on the memory card, and I ran out of space on my phone for the screen recording. So again, trashed it, created more space on my phone, deleted some stuff, recorded it again, and then partway through my last take, the wireless mic transmission system that I had died, but this is the point we got up to. So if you've made it this far, thank you for sticking with me. Consider subscribing because creating this video has been a headache. So if you're here, thank you for being here because this has taken a lot. So without further ado, let's open Clay, the app I use to edit my stories. Okay, so they give you different templates here. Now, I use the free version of this. I haven't paid for any of the apps, Snapseed, Lightroom, Clay. I don't pay for any of them. All these are free editing apps that you can use on the go wherever. And they do have a gold version, is what they call their premium, of Clay that gives you more templates. I don't play around with that. You can make your own if you want to. And they have some premium elements, some free elements. But I just like using the templates and playing around from there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a story post and we're gonna keep on theme for what we've done for the video. We've had V in a couple of these, so let's do a nice photo of the two of us together. This is like our favorite photo, probably. So this was taken in Montreal, so I can go up here, right, and then I'll just change this to Montreal, there we go. And that's already looking good. Now, the background that we have here is this sand dune, and that doesn't quite match the aesthetic of old Montreal. It doesn't really match the vibe. So I'm gonna change it because it doesn't work. So they give you can either pick through your own photos or you can go to Unsplash, you can go to videos, you can put a video behind it, like a little seal or something, which I think is a little funny. If you want like something like that, I'm just gonna use a nice photo. We'll try something modern at first. It's not, a little psychedelic there, but it's not really the vibe that I'm going for. So let's change this. Let's try something European. Maybe that'll hit the vibe. It's still more of that modern style, but I think we can do better. There's already the buildings there. No, it's a little too bright for the more dark, moody aesthetic we got going on here. So let's just see what they have for textures. What do we got? Okay, that one's pretty good. Nice and neutral. What else do we have? Paper, I don't really like that one. This is kind of like a tile, kind of concrete-ish. I'm not a big fan. This one's a little darker. And that one actually makes this pop pretty well. It's a nice dark, gritty texture that helps the photo stand out. So I think I'm gonna go with that. And if we wanna add more elements, we can. You know, we can add stickers and different things like that. Like if we wanna put a big splash over it with paint or something, but I don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna undo that guy and I'm just gonna keep it clean like this. Montreal 2022, nice, clean, simple, great story to stand out. And then I'll just go up here, export that sucker, and that'll save automatically to your device. You can post it right on Instagram from here, and then you can go through. And honestly, this would be a great app to use. You can see I have different ones that I've made in the past, but a great app to use if you're creating branded stories, branded content. If you want to do some, you know, like something for a beauty blog or something, create some quick stories on there. It's really plug and play, super simple, super quick. Not sponsored by any of these apps either. This is just what I've come to like from my own usage, my own personal experience as a professional photographer, trying to edit my images on the go using just my phone. And it's actually, these are really powerful. You don't have to pay for any of them. So I hope this video helps you narrow down your search as well as give you some ideas of how you can edit your photos to be better. So that way you will stand out on the gram, your photos will pop, and honestly, you'll just have better looking photos of your life. And who doesn't want that? So with that all said, I hope you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. If you did, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for all future videos. Work hard, rest often, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Okay, we did it. After 4 tries, we did it.